Good morning, and welcome to Shannie Loves Reading Corner. Today, we're not necessarily going to be reading a short story, but more a short criminal biography. We'll be reading from the book Canadian Crimes by Max Haines, and today we're going to be reading about Robert Rae Cook. So grab your coffee, sit back, and enjoy. Was Robert Rae Cook guilty of murder? That was the burning question put before the jury in 1960 when he stood trial with his life in the balance. Bobby was born in Hanna, Alberta on July 15, 1937, when he was only 9 years old. His mother died while undergoing minor surgery. Within 2 years, his father married schoolteacher Daisy Gaspar, and the family moved to Stettler, a small town about 200 kilometers southeast of Edmonton. In the following 10 years, Daisy Cook gave birth to 5 children. Who knows what impact this rapid expansion of the family had on Bobby? We do know that, at the age of 13, he stole a car. It was a criminal act he was so to repeat time and time again. A year later, he stole another vehicle and ended up in the Bowden Correctional Center. Bobby continued his career as a car thief as well as an inept break-and-enter artist. In all, between the ages of 13 and 21, he was convicted 19 times. In 1959, Queen Elizabeth visited Canada. Bobby Cook was one of the non-violent offenders who received amnesty in honor of her visit. On June 23rd, he and other released prisoners drank the day away in Saskatoon. Next day, he stole a car and drove to Bowden to retrieve $4,300 he had buried before his incarceration. Now well fixed for cash, Bobby's made his way to Edmonton, where once again he spent freely, buying drinks for several ex-cons. On Thursday, June 25th, according to Bobby, he got a lift to Stettler, met his father, and drank some beer with him. During their father-son chat, Bobby learned that his mechanic father was planning to purchase a garage in British Columbia. Bobby later claimed that he turned over about $4,000 to his father. He planned to move to BC with his family. His father urged him to relocate in an attempt to straighten out his life. Bobby agreed. Rae Cook gave his son the family station wagon with instructions to trade it in on a new car. Again, according to Bobby, his father gave him his driver's license, insurance policy, and registration. Father and son parted. Later that night, around 9:30 p.m., Bobby entered the Cook residence. He gave his father his prison-issued blue suit. An hour later, at 10:30 p.m., he left Stettler for Edmonton. At 1 a.m., Bobby ran into ex-con Sonny Wilson in Edmonton. Together they broke into a dry cleaning establishment, absconding with the paltry sum of $30. Bobby slept until 9 a.m. when he showed up at Hood Motors, where he traded the station wagon for a 1959 white Chevrolet Impala convertible. He used his father's credentials to purchase the vehicle and made up a history of steady employment. The salesman accepted Bobby at the face value, but later that same day, an official at the garage recognized the fraudulent transaction and called the police. Bobby took a spin in the convertible. He drove to Camrose, then on to Whitecourt and back to Camrose. On Saturday, June 27th, he was given a ticket for having open liquor in his car and sent on his way. Bobby claimed he drove to Stettler, but found that his parents had left. He assumed that they started off for BC. Bobby noticed 2 suitcases and a metal box containing the family's personal documents. He threw them in the car with the intention of taking them to British Columbia. Not long after leaving his home that Saturday evening, Bobby was stopped by RCMP Constable Braden. He was told to report to the local RCMP detachment. Bobby proceeded to the detachment office where Sergeant Thomas Roach advised him that he had used his father's ID to fraudulently purchase the new convertible. Bobby admitted using the ID, but claimed that it was with his father's permission. Bobby went on to give an account of his movements, much as I related here. He never deviated from the story in any detail the months to follow. Sergeant Roach visited the Cook residence, but found no one at home. The convertible was searched. Police found the suitcases and metal box. Inside the suitcases were the family's nightclothes. The box contained Mr. Cook's bank book, the children's birth certificates, and a marriage license. Sergeant Roach visited the Cook's house for the second time. The front door was unlocked. Roach went inside using a flashlight and found nothing amiss. The next Sunday, the RCMP visited the Cook residence for the third time. In an attachment garage under floorboards that covered a grease pit, they found the bodies of the entire Cook family. Rae Cook's body was riddled with bullets. His wife Daisy lay beside him. A shotgun blast had blown away half of her face. Underneath their bodies they lay those of their children: Gerald 9, Patrick 8, Christopher 6, Kathy 4, and Linda May 3. Their heads had been beaten with the stock of a single-barreled shotgun. Someone had washed blood off the walls inside the house, but traces of blood were still discernible. Inside the master bedroom, police found Bobby's prison-issued blue suit under a mattress. It was blood-stained. Bobby had a ready answer for all the questions put to him. He had given his father the suit to make the trip to British Columbia. He and his dad were the same size, Bobby said, and it seemed the right thing to do. He came back to Stettler to wait for his parents' call, telling him where to meet them. Bobby was charged with the murder of his father and lodged in the Ponoka Mental Institution. He asked permission to attend his family's funeral. When permission was denied, he smashed through a wire mesh window and escaped. 4 days later, the bed-draggled, half-starved Bobby Cook was apprehended hiding in a barn not far from Stettler. Meanwhile, the investigation into the mass murder focused solely on Bobby Cook. Medical examination of the bodies indicated that the murders had taken place at least 24 hours before they were found, but not more than 72 hours. This time frame proved to be very ticklish. It put the time of the murders between 11 a.m. on Thursday, June 25th, and 11 a.m. on Saturday morning, June 27th. During much of this time span, Bobby could prove he was nowhere near Stettler. Police believe that the murders took place sometime between 9:30 p.m. on Thursday, June 25th, and 5 a.m. on Friday, June 26th. For Bobby to have committed the crimes at any other time would have been virtually impossible. Reliable witnesses placed him far away from the murder scene. Unsavory witnesses, such as admitted thief Sonny Wilson, placed Bobby in Edmonton at 1 a.m. Friday, if these witnesses were to be believed, Bobby would have had to have left Stettler, a 2.5-hour drive, at 10:30 p.m. Thursday, leaving him less than an hour to shoot 2 adults, bludgeon 5 children to death, carry bodies to the garage grease pit, replace floorboards, wash bloodstains off the walls, and get out of town. The $4,000 Bobby claimed to have given to his father was never found. Police believed it never existed. However, several prison inmates were well aware that Bobby had a cachet of more than $4,000 buried somewhere on the outside. Did Bobby Cook, a 21-year-old petty criminal who had never committed a violent act in his life, systematically slaughter his entire family? Is it possible that after Bobby left that Thursday night, someone else committed those murders for the $4,000 in Rae Cook's possession? In November 1959, Bobby's murder trial opened at Red Deer. It took 10 days to present, but the jury took only an hour and a half to bring in a guilty verdict. Bobby was sentenced to hang. His lawyers appealed the conviction and won a new trial. The results were the same. This time the jury only took 25 minutes to bring in their guilty verdict. On Monday, November 14th, 1960, Robert Rae Cook was hanged at the Fort Saskatchewan Correctional Institute. Wow. Canadian criminal history at its finest. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. Stay tuned tomorrow for something new. Thank you.